What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for this week's episode of Attack on Titan Season 3! And man, this episode was amazing. Phenomenal. Like, okay, if you guys have seen my previous, you saw my review for the first episode, when you my reaction to the trailer that dropped, you guys know that I was very, very hesitant with this scene. I was staying very cautious optimistic because I knew how this turned out in the manga. A lot of people didn't like this arc. A lot of people dropped it. Like I said, I even had a friend of mine. She dropped the manga as well because of this arc. But then even the first episode, I was like, I don't know. Could this end up being really good? Could this end up being shit? I don't know. But after these 3 episodes, like, from that godlike art animation from episode 2, which apparently that took Witch Studios like a month to do, like that whole segment, which I'm not surprised by, because like, did y'all see that art animation last week? Apparently the series even had some production issues. Like Caesar had some production issues apparently. Like, I mean, I don't see them unless production means that they dropped half the budget on that one scene, and so now they're just kind of like I don't know, like working with scraps here for the rest of the series or something. I mean, I doubt it's that bad. I doubt this is gonna be like Ava, where they're gonna like cheap out around the end. Like, I don't think it's gonna turn out like that. But I'm saying that, you know, that apparently the series had a production issue. I don't see it. There hasn't been anything like really bad art animation we've gotten so far. Art animation has been consistent. You know, voice acting has also been phenomenal. But yeah, So as I was saying, this arc might just end up being like maybe my favorite arc in Attack on Titan. Now, granted, like I said, I'm an anime only, so this is like only the fourth arc in Attack on Titan. I almost forgot there was 2 arcs in season 2, or season 1, I should say. But like, just the intrigue we've gotten so far, the twists and turns we've gotten so far, this may be my favorite. Now, granted, something that could also be done to like the pacing's a lot better. Like, as we guys may know, even the manga of Attack on Titan, he's even stated that this arc was kind of shit, and that he's working together with Studios to fix up the pacing and overall make the arc a better arc for the anime, rather than to like kind of like rectify whatever happened in the manga, which I can definitely see. Like but there have been actually a lot of cuts and changes have happened so far with Attack on Titan season 2. Like a lot of censorship and all. Like, from when like Levi was just using the ODM gear to actually kill those guys. Like, that was actually a lot different from the manga. I mean, a lot of it happened the same way, but you didn't see all the gruesome deals, especially with the torture scene with Hanji. That was definitely cut up. Like she even, like in the manga, she had this tool to legit remove the dude's balls. I'm dead ass serious. And when I heard that from Chibi's review, I was like, whoa, wait, what? Nani? Yeah, I would have really given up and been like, yo, I'll tell you everything, just please don't! No. Yeah, well, I made for the Blu-rays. They'll end up putting a lot of stuff back in, and we'll see a lot more gore, like we see the dude with the removed fingernails, but there's like no blood there, no nothing. Which, if you guys have seen Kakegurui, you guys know that's very unpleasant to live without your fingernails. I can. Oh man, that scene was ooh. Even that even the dub, it was really good. But looking for season 2 for that, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, this arc could end up being very, but enough me jibber jabbing about how interesting this arc could end up being my favorite arc. Let's actually discuss the episode in detail, shall we? Okay, so we start this episode off with Historia's backstory reveal. Now, okay, I gotta say, this is actually kind of weird how they do this, because when they show it, it's like Historia's at a table with Eren, Levi, and the other guys. Now, granted, so I'm guessing this takes place in the future. Now, granted, in the manga, because I actually saw a video from a guy who subscribed to that talking about the differences in the manga and between this episode and how it happened in the manga. When the stuff with Hanji was going down, Krista and Eren were already there. So I'm assuming this takes place in the future. Like, I don't know, this kind of came off a little bit. I can kind of see what series is going at right here, because, like I said, I did see that video where it does explain, the little differences this episode had with its manga counterpart. Anyway, so she explains that as long as she's known, she grew up on this farm. With her, it was just her, and I'm assuming just her and mother because we don't see anybody else in the house, and I don't believe Krista, or Historia, I should say, mentions anyone else was there. But she was pretty much doing all the heavy lifting, pretty much doing all the housework. I'm sure her mom, because she says her mom did jack shit other than stand by this tree and read a book. Now, granted, no, I'm assuming that Shirley would have it though, because I don't know how little I would have assumed that story is what 9 years old, right here, 8, 9-ish. She probably couldn't do that much with the horses, or maybe they took care of themselves or something. I don't know, but her mom was very distant towards Historia. Like I said, she would always sit on her ass and read a book. When eventually she goes on explaining that around night her mom would wear these fancy clothes and go out into this carriage, which I'm assuming she's going to meet Lord Royce, of course, the king, or at least the king at the time, or anyway, he's he was, I'm assuming he was the king at the time, or at least someone that was in the higher ups in the government at the very least. But just go with her, wearing these fancy clothes. So, and eventually Historia learned how to read and write. She would end up reading the books. She would end up reading this book. Looks like this was the same book her mom was reading as well, to imitate her mom. And all the books she read, and as she said, she felt that she realized how alone she really was. She explains how in the books they would always show parents as caring, hugging their children, caring for them, loving them. So Historia, being the little curious 9-year-old that she was, ended up trying to put this into practice, and she was trying to hug her mom just to see what her reaction was really. So she ends up throwing her stuff to her, but she ends up not really hugging her. She just just throws herself on her lap. She doesn't really go for a side. She just kind of zing. And when this was about to happen, I was like, what? She's gonna throw her across the room and bail. That's exactly what happens. I'm like, called it. So where she grabs her face and just sends her flying. Just sends her throwing. She doesn't end up hitting the fence, but she ends up just kind of rolling back. She has a bloody nose, which I guess in there that her mom put some real power behind that throw. If she has a bloody nose. And weirdly, Historia is not in any pain. She isn't crying, nothing. And I'm like, either A, Historia is one, the tough 9-year-old that can take a licking, or B, there wasn't really that much power behind it. Where she said that she was actually happy that this happened because it was the first time her mom did anything to her. And her mom says, straight up, to her face, I wish I had the courage to kill that girl. Straight to her face! God damn! Anyway, so after that little ordeal, her mom ended up leaving and going to some other location. Where then, actually, about 5 years ago, from at least whenever Historia's telling the story, she ended up meeting her father for the first time, Roy Royce, as we actually met in last week's episode. So we see, where he says, hello, Historia, I am your father. He doesn't say Darth Vader, but I just had to say Darth Vader. And where he says, you're gonna live with me now. And her mom is kind of terrified. Now, as soon as they walk out, there's our man Kenny. Kenny is right there, and then they kind of grab Historia's mom, and he's like, okay, now everybody calm down, let's not do anything rash. And and Historia's like, Mom, and she's like, I don't know this girl, she ain't mine, I don't know this girl, no, sirree. And he's like, is that true, Lord Royce? Royce, whatever. And so he's like, and then Krista, I don't know. I'm still saying Krista, it's going to be hard for me to switch over to Historia. So she ends up looking at him, and she's like, very well, this woman I don't know this bitch, and this kid ain't mine. He's like, Kenny, do your thing. He doesn't say it, but it's just you guys just nah, I don't know these two. So, Kenny ends up slitting her throat right in front of her too. Historia was right there as Kenny slit her throat. I mean, damn! Historia's been through a lot of shit. I'm surprised how she was in season 1. What I like, cause like she was actually very bubbly. Like granted, we've seen that was kind of like all four, so we've seen the real Historia here in season 3. But I'm like, damn, Historia went through some shit in her youth. I mean, watch your mom die right in front of your face. Listen to your mom. Wish that you were never born. Because even her last words was like, I wish. Even when her last words right before her throat was slit, was I wish I never had you. That was her final words from her mom. Damn, I gotta say, like, Historia, you're a true. I mean, that's gotta be one of the worst childhoods I've ever seen in anime history. I mean, your mom hated you. You saw her die right in front of you. Like, And so, right before Kenny does the job on Historia as well, he's like, wait. And so she has to explain that he thought this idea to keep her, to like, have her live, which was change her name to Krista, and then, have her sent far away, which you guys know the rest. Now, okay, I gotta ask this one question. Now, granted, it could just because I'm an idiot, but why did the king, Royce, whatever, have to deny that he'd know these two? Now, granted, as we learned in season 2, Historia was kind of like a bastard child, I guess you can say, where she was never meant to be born. Like, she was probably the child of an affair between, Royce, I also forget his name, between the king, and this woman. Let's assume why he wanted this so that he could keep a clean record, so this wouldn't have any trouble for him later on. That's why I'm assuming is the case. That's at least my theory. Now, granted, the show could go in more detail, or I'd just be a straight up idiot, but I guess that's my personal theory. So, anyway, then we get back to where we left off last week, where it's just where, he hugged Krista, where he says, please forgive me for all I did, this is all to protect you, yada yada yada. He tells him, that you, Historia, have royal blood running through your veins, and that you are the one and only person that could save all of humanity. And we got Aaron there just kind of chilling. He just falls asleep. We then head back to where we head back to Hanji after she finished up off the job with her torture victims. So the dude that had pretty much all the torture done to him, that had his nails removed and everything, which, like I said, like here they don't really show it's something graphic. They just have it kind of to be like a darker shade, like a correct. Now, granted, for the Blu-rays, they could always maybe change it to like red. Which I honestly hope they do, just to give it that little bit of an extra graphic flair, just to show like, just how much more painful it actually was, and kind of like this kind of gray it's kind of have right now, but whatever. He ends up strangling the dude next to him, and he's like, I cannot bear to hear your voice. You betrayed the king. And Hodge is like, he didn't say shit to us. Like we held him with a knife and forced him to read this script I wrote. He's like, so I betrayed the king. No! Anyway, so then, and like I said, the voice acting here was amazing from the voice actor from Hanji. I'm definitely looking forward to rewatching this in the dub when it airs in Toonami in a couple weeks. I'm hyped to see that, because, it's episode 2. I cannot wait to see that dubbed. And rewatch that glorious art animation. That glorious art animation. That art animation is still amazing to watch to this day. I still can't go over that art animation was something. Anyway, enough me gushing about the art animation with all that stuff. Anyway, so she entertained, he says, calls them, you devils. And then Han's like, oh yeah, I'm sure Nick was thinking the same thing when you fuckers were torturing him. And then she ends up getting right next to the cage, and starts screaming out and being like, Sarge, you were right. I was actually starting to feel sorry for you over there, grown-ass men, wailing and crying like little bitches. Sarge, you're right, you morons, blah, blah, blah. She ends up going on this massive rant. She takes her leave. And that's when we get this part, okay, here's another thing that I'm assuming what Series was putting back in that was in the manga that they're putting back in here. Because, actually, in the manga, when Hanji was torturing the guys, she wasn't, completely okay. She wasn't like, yeah, motherfuckers, yeah, oh, you like that? Like as we see as Hanji, as we see from Hanji, she's borderline crazy, borderline a psychopath. As we see, she's damn near a mad scientist. where she actually didn't, like, she would often go out and, like, kind of, like, release her frustration by, like, throwing around furniture and shit, because she actually kind of felt sorry and a little bad for what she was doing to humans, torturing them to the level that she did. So here, she ends up just kicking these tables, and right as Levi so I'm guessing that's what Wit Studios was trying to put back that little bit of extra character development for Hanji, that she is this complete crazy psycho that we've kind of assumed that she was from season 1 and season 2. So she's like, Levi, yeah, I was sorry about the mess. I was taking care of a cockroach. Yeah, what kind of cockroach you need to do that much damage, but okay. She's like, okay, time for you guys to film it. What she does, where she explains that the conversation that Eren remembered from Reiner, from Ymir and Bertolt, was that it seems that if a Titan eats a Titan shifter, they become a Titan shifter. Like, as we know, Ymir, she was injected with some shit and then became a Titan. As she wandered throughout the wall, she had eaten one of Reiner's buddies, which, as we know, Reiner's buddies are Titan shifters. So most of she's saying, so what Hanji is saying pretty much that if and how Eren got the power of, like, controlling Titans with his roar, was that if a Titan eats a Titan shifter, they too become a Titan shifter, as well as gaining any powers that the Titan whoever they eat had. So which means that Eren's most likely going to be eaten by, I don't know, maybe we'll see Annie make her return later on, or maybe it could end up being Reiner or Bertolt or some other character we don't know. Because I remember, when they posted, we had Eren tied up in this very Titanous crystal area with Levi and some other person. I don't know if that was Kenny who were the legs we were seeing, or that was some other character. I don't know. Anyway, so after that we end up getting back to Erwin, which we actually learned a lot about Erwin in this part of the episode. Which, that's so Erwin. Ooh, that was definitely the pipe bomb of the episode. Where I was like, oh damn. So we see Erwin. He's like kind of just chilling around his room. One of the guys come in and be like, hey, I also forget is the dude's name, but it's the guy that we always saw drinking in season 1 and season 2. So he makes a return, which is nice because he was pretty cool to see in season 1 and season 2, where Erwin pretty much explains to his plans that his plan is to actually overthrow the government. Yeah. Okay, overthrowing the government. This should be interesting. He explains his plan that he wants to overthrow the government, but he says his plan doesn't require any bloodshed, won't require military forces, but he says the groundwork is not ready yet, and if it ends up not working, they're kind of screwed and they'll end up getting lynched. Obviously, because, the government isn't going to take too kindly to fuckers over trying to overthrow them. Oh, no. Where then, and so after he explains his whole plan, he then tells him, like, while we're waiting for some further confirmation on some details, let me tell you a story about my father. He was a teacher. Then that's where it cuts to commercial break. Actually, and they end up leaving, and they actually saved that conversation to the end of the episode, which is then watch while I'll discuss it. So it's not, but yeah, if I don't want to discuss it right now, I'll wait for it to talk about in the end. So then we see Hanji. She's kind of riding on horseback. To where she gives Eren's win. She would explain in detail that yes, that the guys did end up talking, and that actually the current royal family, or the current royals that are up there, the head honchos of the government, are in fact false, and then of course the real royal family is of course Race, which of course includes Historia. And so Eren explains his plan is to actually once Levi and the guys end up getting Historia and Eren back, their plan is to actually have them overthrow the government, with Historia being crowned queen in front of everyone, so that everyone knows that the system that they're living is a lie. And since she is the royal, and of course they're picking her because she has the royal blood, and because I guess they also have history with her. So then one of the guys being like, "Hey, the military police is downstairs. They want you to turn yourselves in and make it." They're saying that you organized some murder. Everyone's like, "Alright." Puts on his jacket, tells Hanji, that I need to be the face of the scouts. That you are next in charge. So get out of here and do what you need to do. So ends up leaving, ends up seeing, the corpses, of course, the guy, Reeves, that we saw getting killed by Kenny last week, and, the everyone's like, oh, you scouts, never here monopolizing, Eren power out of your stale, blah, 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 and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. whatever. I honestly forget half the. I honestly forget half the dialogue in this scene. But then he ends up saying like, okay, you admit, with this violence. So result, all the scouts are apprehended because fuck you. So they ended up apprehending scouts. Of course, Hanji and the other dude ended up managed to get away. And Erwin actually tells them, goes back to Reeve's body, where his wife is like, "Get away from my husband, you lowlife!" Where he then goes to explain pretty much all what happened that back down in season 2, where he then says, "Yeah, I'm going to avenge your husband's death." He gets in the carriage, where then we get the massive pipe bomb, the massive mic drop, pipe bomb, whatever you want to call it. The episode where I was like, "Whoa." Holy shit, the plot thickens up in here like, ooh. Like I said, like, Anyway, so we find out that, of course, like I said before, Aaron's father was a teacher. And he was explaining, about how the humanity found refuge in the walls, and we had the 100 years of peace and all that shit. But Aaron was not convinced. So he asked his father a question. Now, we don't know exactly what the question was, but it was probably something like, hey, I honestly really don't know. Anyway, so Erwin ends up, his father ends up, not answering the question, ends up evading and just end class. But once they get home, Erwin's father explains to him what is the answer to his question, which is that he found out from the history books that were handed to him by the government, they were full of contradictions and mysteries. And so he ended up coming up with the theory that actually the government actually altered the memories of the people to make them easier to rule. Damn! And when I heard that, I was like, wait, what? Like, since when did the government have access to Men in Black deneuralizers? Being like, alright, y'all are fucking idiots, so you will worship us. Like, I'm sure they're not like deneuralizing a Man in Black. They probably have some other methods to however they did this. I'm looking forward to what those methods were. And now, granted, like you said, this was just a theory. So we don't know this is all true. This could just be some conspiracy nut, for all we know. But since the fact that Erwin ended up not being smart enough wasn't smart enough to keep his mouth shut, he ended up telling the other kids, ended up leading him to telling the military, some guys military, and which he had fired him down, which we know he was killed by the same guy that ended up killing Nick last week, as he explained that we killed this teacher that knew too much. Which I'm curious if Hanji told Erwin that, the guy that they were interrogating was the same guy that killed his father. I'm actually kind of curious if Hanji told him that, if Erwin actually knows. I don't think he does, but I don't know. So I'm sure, what was I talking about? I was on my trains, but anyway. So yeah, I'm definitely curious, of what these methods were, how they managed to, So anyway, oh yeah, I almost forgot my train of thought for a second. After, and of course his father died, that's when Erwin knew that he was most likely, while it might not have been the complete truth, at the very least was on the right path to, figure out what really happened what really happened to him when they did discover the walls and they did take refuge in them. And from that moment on, Erwin knew in his heart that his father was true, that the government did, do some Men in Black deneuralizing to make the people easier to rule. And so Erwin's whole goal now in life is to prove his father's theory as fact, that yes, the government did do some memory altering to make the people easier to rule. Whether they wipe their memories, alter them, do some hypnosis, have Men in Black deneuralizers, whatever the case may be, he wants to figure out why. He wants to pretty much prove that his father's theory was correct, and that that's actually what the government has been doing. Which, woo, man, am I intrigued. Like I said, depending on how this goes, I am looking forward to what happens later on this arc, what happens later on this series, with all these questions being raised. And I tell them, we had some interesting questions that were raised in season 2, and even season 1, but what's in the basement. Here, I'm really intrigued with the stuff with Erwin, the stuff with the father thinking that people were indeed, had their memories altered by the government. Definitely has me interested. Attack on Titan is one of those interesting stories that definitely that has interesting lore and answers a lot of interesting questions that makes you makes you want to keep watching. You're like, I need to know what the hell, I need to know where this goes. And that's kind of one of the main reasons why I do love Attack on Titan as much as I do, is because, like, you know, the questions the show asks, and, like, you know, I'm looking forward to whenever we get the answers to these questions, whether they're later on this arc or, you know, far later on in the series. I'm intrigued. So then after that, we end up seeing, you know, Levi and the others. They're pretty much down in this forest there, where they pretty much explains that we got pretty much a day before the military police catches up to us, so let's use that day to think of a plan to get back Eren, which then the episode with actually Sasha, I almost forgot her name, I was about to call her Potato Girl, with Sasha actually hearing some footsteps, and that's when we just see these guys with guns showing up, and that's where the episode ends. Man, this episode was interesting. Like, ooh, I'm definitely intrigued with whatever we have next week and whatever goes. Like I said, this could end up being my favorite arc, because I'm very intrigued with the hell. But, like, I know a lot of people didn't like this. Now, granted, this could also be the fact that, you know, that we are probably getting a lot better pacing than whatever happened in the manga. But what we have gotten so far is really interesting. So overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. So hope y'all enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me, scan, Twitter, leave those links below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.